trio. You know what I mean? Like you can't put shackles on those dudes. You got to let them play. What do you think? If Do you agree with me that Nash is like Nash's leadership in the ways that it needs to be has kind of kept this thing together and kept it from falling apart? Because we could easily be another 2 games in the wrong direction. We could be like the 6th or 7th seed right now.
Oh yeah, I think he deserves. I think this team is basically getting by right now through pure talent and the fact that the fact that, knock on wood, they seem to like each other. Like I I think like this goes, if you play this out 100 times with a team that has this much talent but has like a different coach, but like, and maybe a couple more like interesting personalities, this could blow the hell up. Like, we forget, like, there were a lot of LeBron teams where he basically like shipped out half his team at the trade deadline because they were just like, fuck this. And like, if he wanted to, he would do it for this deadline also. But like, I think this team does think, like, I think the Bulls game was kind of the moment that the team needed, where they were like, look, like, we didn't even have Joe in that game. I can't remember if Claxton played or not. I think he did, but I don't remember. And like, it was just one of those things where it's like, when we have our guys, we're fucking really good and we actually do like each other. It's just, we've had a lot of nonsense like happen. Like, I mean, you just, like, the Kyrie thing alone. And I know we're putting a block on a pause on his name during this pod, but like, and I honestly think the Harden thing must be really frustrating. Like, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, and I know that I've probably been, even as someone who loves him and like, and really wants him to succeed and sign a long-term deal with us. Like, there were a couple of videos that went viral yesterday of his defense on the final two defensive possessions. And they were like, I mean, they were just like an absolute like disaster. Like, he was floating on the second to last play when Kuzma hit the three to put them down one. And then on the last play, he got lucky that Kuzma missed the shot and then did when he missed the shot. Like, the dude is just like not focused. And I think the Nets must feel like they're in a weird spot, right? Because he's a free agent and they want to appease him and he's one of the faces of the organization. But at the same time, like, he hasn't been in good shape, which he admitted himself. His effort is lacking, and he also makes like a ton of dumb plays. Like, how many games have we gone through this year where there's 4 or 5 plays where he makes a pass that's just he has made passes in this game where, like, you would say to Trey, if he made them during his game, like, come on, you're better than that. Like, and he's had multiple of those. Every game. And I don't know, it just like, and I think for Nash to kind of adapt to that, mixed with Kyrie, who he clearly has respect for, but as you said, is like diametrically opposed in a lot of different ways. And then KD, who I think him and KD are probably on the same page on like almost everything. Like, they're both
Not, I'm telling you, there's nuance there between the type of dude. KD is a basketball whore. Kevin Durant, like, when him and Kyrie are talking, it's like he's looking at Kyrie, but he's seeing Kyrie's game.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the way the man plays basketball. Watch Kevin Durant on the bench watching Kyrie do his thing. He must, listen, I'm told a story that, with clarity, that when Draymond texted Kevin Durant from the parking lot of the Warriors arena, the concern for him wasn't that it was LeBron for the next few years that they would have to face. The concern for them was that LeBron had Kyrie. And deep down inside, Draymond knew. Listen to the way Draymond talks about Kyrie. He respects him.
Yep.
So getting Kevin Durant was like, all right, if they have LeBron, which is the cheat code, it's not fair for that team to have Kyrie too. So we need to go and shore things up because we could come back fully healthy next year and not beat this team.
Yep.
So now, like, I'm telling you now that also is Kevin Durant's position as well. He appreciates his game. So it's like a beautiful woman that is not so smart. You'll paint in you'll color a lot of coloring books with a woman if she's fine.
Yeah.
I know that may be a very sexist thing to say, but the allure of a beautiful woman will have the most intelligent man dumbfounded. And it's almost that type of thing. I'm telling you, Kevin is a basketball whore. He sees that game, and he just can't resist. That's just what it is, and that's the relationship. I think that's why Kobe liked him. I think that's why you will not find a current player that has actually played on a basketball court with Kyrie Irving that'll say a bad thing about him, and that's because that game is special.
And you're right, because it's funny. So, like in the in the Twitter spaces, like I've now come to be known as and I know you've referred to me as this, like the Nets body language doctor. So people were asking me yesterday. They were like, when you were at the game, did it seem like Harden is like mad at Kyrie because there's all this Harden to Philly rumors? And I was like, no, like I was like I think they definitely really like each other. I think Harden and Yves, you've mentioned this on a million podcasts. Harden just so desperately wants to win a title that the fact that he's dealing with this like vaccination bullshit, which could get in the way of like the title, is the one thing he's missing to be put in that echelon with, like, when we're doing NBA rankings, when like when we're having the TNT shows and they're like James Harden. And right now he could either be in the grouping with like Kevin Garnett and like the guys that won a title and Dirk and stuff like that, or he's going to be in the Barkley Malone thing, and he knows which group he wants to be in. And so the fact that he's like dealing with this guy who he knows and loves and who he respects so much in his game, but won't get a fucking vaccine jab, it must be infuriating.
But they don't care. Like, they took the jab to be able to play. Like it's not like I had the vaccine a whole damn near a year before they got the jab. They took the jab to play, right? Kyrie's not taking the jab, and it's not like they politically are on that side or not. They love the game. And you want to know what that brings me back to Steve Nash. Steve Nash understands their love language. He knows what to say to them. I'm telling you, another coach would have botched this. Another coach would have, like, I'm sorry, Thibodeau would have ruined this. Doc Rivers would have just ham-fisted this. Carlisle, look what he's doing in Indiana. That I'm telling, like, Nets fans need to leave my coach alone, man. Like, the way he's handling all of this, and we're still winning games when we shouldn't, with rookies, with 4 players basically coming to find out this season that they're completely finished. Last night's game wasn't a great game, but Nash is doing his thing.
They're a half a game out of the 1 seed. Like, I don't really know what people want, and they've had Kyrie for I think 5 games this year. Harris played in about I think like 10 or 12. LaMarcus has missed a bunch of time. Claxton's missed a bunch of time. KD's now missed time, and Harden came in out of shape. Like, I just don't know what. I don't know. I don't know what people want really from him. Like, it's one.
And Joe Harris has been hurt most of the season.
Right. If they had this record and everyone was more or less fully healthy, then I'd be like, you know what? You're right. They're underperforming. They're on pace for like 50-ish, like 52-ish wins, whatever it is. Like, this team should be better. They're fully healthy. Like, they're on pace to be a 1, 2, or 3 seed. Maybe they'll drop more without KD now, but like I just don't know. I don't know what I really don't know what people want from Nash. But whatever. I mean, me and you. This is a topic that me and you are completely aligned on, and we know that this is more. And we know we're going to be right about this. That this is more of a personnel issue than it is a coaching issue.
Oh yeah. So let's get to the meat of it, man. What do we need to do to win it all? What's your theories?
Besides get healthy,
All right.
because
Let's.
that's first and
I
foremost.
think
Like
the
if you,
chance of us being healthy throughout the playoffs is probably 60-40.
yeah, I know you're right. Like I think after last season, you're right that we basically got to go into this thinking that like something can happen, given that like basically four guys ended up basically being hurt last year when you
Right.
combine Harden, Kyrie, Jeff Green, even like obviously the Dinwiddie thing. But
Right. We're not
I mean,
Memphis. We're not. That's the thing. That's the important thing for the Nets to know. We're not Memphis to be able to just run in there. We've got young bodies who could play 42 minutes and come back the next day and play again. Even though you don't do that in the
right,
playoffs, I'm just saying that the battle of attrition is not going to be won by us. We're going to out talent everyone.
right.
But
So
in order to out talent everyone, you have to have supporting cast that complement your superstar talent that do what they don't do.
yep.
Do we have that? I have an opinion, but I want to hear your opinion first.
So I think these are the three things that I would do if I were Marks. I would make a trade. Like I would make a trade that involves Bruce Brown and a couple of the excess guys like the Javon Carter and Millsaps of the world. Who, by the way, I want to give you props because I have no issue admitting when I'm wrong. I like the Carter and Millsap signings. You were less bullish on them. They've both been Carter especially has been a disaster. I was fully wrong, and we would have been better off having some athletic G League guy giving a tryout on. But I think I think they need to make a trade involving Bruce Brown and those two guys. I think that they should see what the market is for Claxton. I wouldn't deal him just to deal him because he's a free agent because he obviously can help in the playoffs. Like I would make a deal where if you can trade Claxton and actually upgrade, then I think you do it. If that's not possible, then like go into free agency. If you got to do a sign and trade with him, whatever, that's fine. And I mean, I've said this before. I get killed in the spaces whenever I say it. I would see what the market is on some of the rookies, just because I think again, like if you can upgrade, you can upgrade, and if it makes you can never guarantee a championship as we saw last year, but if you give yourself like a 10 to 15 or 5 to 10 or 15% chance boost, like that's a big boost in winning a title. Like you got to make the moves on the margins to help us win. The one thing I wanted to just say about Bruce Brown, and this is just from being at the game, like the friend of yours that you have that when they say something that's annoying, it annoys you 30 times more than if anybody else had said it. Like,
Yeah, I'm usually that friend.
not with me, but like Bruce Brown, Bruce Brown is the type of guy where you can see it on the court where he makes a mistake and he kind of like look, and everyone looks around and they're kind of like, oh, dude, like you messed up. Whereas had Kessler made the same mistake or had Patty Mills made the same mistake, everyone would have been like, yo, man, it's all good. Like you'll get him back on the next one. When Bruce makes a mistake, everyone's like, dude, like it's kind of like everyone's whispering to each other, being like, oh, like Bruce is so annoying. Why did we invite him to lunch? Like I told you not to do this. Like
He's working my nerves.
Yeah, like
Bruce, this whole Bruce Brown experiment is not working for me.
Yeah, and look, he makes like I think like $4 or $5 million. He has a no trade clause because of the qualifying offer. But if I'm him, if Nash and Marks basically tell him, look, like when everyone comes back, Bembry does your role, and the rookies are better than you. Also, you're out of the rotation. Like he would be better off getting moved to a team where he could actually play and show his value for future free agency. So
does Javon Carter make $3 million a year? Is that true?
He's at like the mid. Yeah, he's probably around like 2 something or 3. I can get out Spot Track to see, but and because that'll actually make this conversation better. But yeah, I mean like those are the moves I think you can do. You should do. I'm curious, like where are you at on? I mean, I know your feelings about Carter and Millsap and whatnot, and like creating roster spaces for buyout dudes. But I'm curious, what's your opinion about like the Claxton and the rookies and Bruce Brown?
So with Claxton's such a it's wrong to say disappointment, but his dedication to making himself better hasn't